Should we move on to travel stories?
Yeah, okay. So we talked a bit about travel assholes, and Mercedes spent some of that. We've all experienced a travel asshole or two in our time, and dare I say, some of the travel assholes might have caused this COVID. I don't know, who knows? There's something going on, but travel assholes and travel stories as you're traveling to the Olympics or into training. Mercedes had some really funny things about people that make her wait for her luggage, and it drives her crazy.
I think it drives everyone crazy. I'm just gonna say that.
I'm curious as to travel story nightmares that you guys have gone through, lost gear or anything like that, or a travel asshole you've experienced that you just wish they would just stop doing what they're doing. So let's go around the table and get your travel asshole story. Who wants to go first?
I'll start. I can't think of any travel assholes, but like one of the worst situations I've ever been in was I don't know, a couple years ago I didn't have my funding, so I was kind of doing my season on a budget, and so I was like picking like the cheapest flights I could find. So I didn't care if I had like a 4 or 5 hour layover instead of like a direct connection, because I was saving like $500 or $400 here or there, right? So I was going down to Mammoth Mountain in California. I had to fly through San Francisco, and I had to get on like the 5 a.m. flight out of Vancouver, get to San Francisco, wait, like, I don't know how long my layover was, but I'm just like so tired from the travel, like living in Whistler, getting up at 2 a.m. to get down to the airport, yeah. So I'm like exhausted. I get on my flight to go from San Francisco to Reno. And I put my passport in the seat back pocket, like I do on every flight. But then when we get to Reno, get up, grab my things, get off the plane, get my bags, wait for my team to come in 3 hours later. And then I'm like, oh, I don't have my passport. Where the hell is my passport? I look through my bags, look through my backpack, my pocket, my jacket, everything, and I don't have it. And I realize I just left it on the plane.
You're your own travel asshole.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm trying to talk to people to get them to call the airplane, and you can't call the airplane, but call like San Francisco and say, don't put this through Lost and Found, just send it back to Reno, because the flight San Francisco to Reno goes every couple hours. It's just like one plane that goes back and forth. No, they weren't helpful at all. They said, just make a report online, you'll get it back. So I go to this training camp in Mammoth, and then I think like a week and a half later, I still haven't heard anything about my lost passport. And, they should have found it and like made a report that same day. But yeah, so I just have to like, at that point I had to make the decision to like call the embassy in San Francisco and say, hey, I've lost my passport. I need to get like a travel document to get back into Canada. So I rent a car, drive to San Francisco, and from Mammoth it's about 6 hours. Park, go into my meeting, get all my travel documents sorted, no problem. I walk out and I see my car getting towed because I parked in like a commercial loading zone or something. It's like the worst of the worst. It just like kept getting worse, so.
Moral of the story, don't cheap out on tickets.
Yeah, just like.
Discount Air. I think we covered that, didn't we, Mercedes?
Exactly.
Discount Air with a giant snowboard bag. Mercedes went off on that. It was a while.
Yeah.
It was a while.
So I like 2 hours later, I figure out where my car's towed to. I go to the parking lot, and I had to pay like a $500 fine.
Oh, zing! And I know Derek, and I know he's pissed about that.
Oh, I'm pissed. Yeah. I had to pay a $500 fine, plus like a ticket, plus like fees on the car for taking like toll roads and stuff. Like it just added up. It just like I spent more money trying to get my passport back than I did saving on all the cheap flights I took all season.
This is like the best story for me because I've traveled with him for so long. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Britt, Maya, are you sort of like familiar with Derek's story here in travel? Like Mercedes is really getting a kick out of this. She knows this really well.
I gotta say, Derek, what are you doing putting your freaking passport in the seat of the airplane. Like, come
Well,
on.
Rookie.
I
That's
put
like such a
everything there,
rookie
you know, your
move.
headphones, your phone, your water bottle. I just put everything back there, and then I just didn't pick up my passport for some reason. I don't know.
I'm just teasing you. But seriously, though, don't do that. That's like asking for it.
Life lessons with Maelle.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just gotta start your own
Hey.
podcast, man.
Hard knock life.
The,
No,
the other lesson is don't fly when you're sleep deprived.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I make that mistake a lot. I'm like, oh yeah, I'll get on that 6 o'clock flight, and I'm like, I live in Whistler. It's 2 hours away. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Well, Mercedes, when you don't go to bed till 5 anyways,
I know.
you might as well just book those flights. Brett, you got any funny stories about travel?
I have a good one. I have a good one. There was a couple of years ago. So one of my last years racing, it might have been the year after the Olympics. We had a downhill and Super G, some events in Bansko, Bulgaria, and it was like the first World Cup they'd hosted there. So they chartered a plane from Munich to I think we flew into Sofia, and then we would bus to the event. So on the Sunday, our race is done. We all get on. We had to wait a while before we got on the buses. So of course, we had some time to kill, and there was a bowling, so we, the kind of relaxing after the event, a weekend of racing, of horrible racing. We had a few drinks and got on the bus, and I would say the buses weren't alcohol-free either. But we still have this long, we're like, okay, we'll just go to Sofia, and we've got a short flight, a charter flight back to Munich, easy. So we get to the airport, we unload all our stuff, and we get on the plane. Everything's going fine. And we're starting our descent to Munich. And all of a sudden the plane starts to go back up into the air. And the pilot, at this point it's about 11 at night, it's pretty late. And we're all feeling pretty tired and just want to land. And we had about another hour and a half drive to get to our our home base in Austria, where we were for the winter. So it was going to be a late night anyways, but we were definitely ready to get back. So the plane starts to go back up in the air because it's too foggy in Munich to land. So the plane reroutes and they can land in Stuttgart. So we go to Stuttgart, we land. We have to get a hotel for the night. So this is the whole women's World Cup circuit, the downhill and Super G circuit is on this chartered plane. So we all file out of the airport in Stuttgart, and we're just waiting to get, to find out where we're going to stay. So we get rooms. We finally get into rooms at 2 a.m. We get up the next day at, I think, pretty early. Buses were leaving, so we couldn't get on they weren't putting us on a flight back to Munich. We had to get on buses to get bused back to Munich. And all of our bags were going somewhere, on a different bus. Then we eventually made it, back.
How were you feeling?
The next afternoon. Pretty horrible.
Yeah.
Pretty horrible. Yeah.
Oh, man.
But we were all feeling pretty horrible. Everyone was in the same boat. We were all together in it.
I feel like
that was probably the most that detour.
I honestly think you never learned that lesson of not flying hungover. You're like, I'm never going to do it again. Never. And then you're like, oh, here we go again.
Here I am again.
Do a lot of
just that whole event.
Do a lot of Olympic athlete stories start like that? I don't know if we're going to make our bus. I don't know if we're going to make our plane.
I don't know if we're going to make our bus.
Or your train.
Yeah.
I have missed a lot of flights. We've covered that.
We did cover that, and we did cover that. Yeah.